Steph Curry goes for 52 points, but that may not be the most unbelievable stat of the day. Wait until you hear what the Warriors did from the charity stripe, and wait until you see what the Western Conference standings looks like as we enter the stretch on today's Locked On Dubs.
Who cares now? Because I'm here, and I would like to think that I am wanted here.
Most importantly, he a dog.
We got 4 championships.
You are Locked On Warriors.
I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Speculation is just what it is, though.
Your team every day.
It is a great day to be great, everyone. Welcome into Locked On Warriors. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Ways that you can check out the show. We're always free. You can find us on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and check us out wherever you get your audio podcasts for Warriors coverage on the go. My name's Charlie Walter. Covered the team for 95.7 The Game. That's the flagship station of your Golden State Warriors. Also covered the team for CBS News Bay Area. Call letters KPIX in the Bay Area, where I saw their championship run in 21-22, and it's starting to feel a lot like that season. The Warriors just red hot right now since Curry has returned. Matt Kolsky, a co-host of mine on 95.7 The Game. You can also hear him from time to time on KNBR. He spent a long time at the Leader in San Francisco, and he joins me today as my co-host to break down this game. We got a lot to get to. Why bury the lead? Steph Curry went for 52 points, man. There was a serious threat of breaking Klay Thompson's record for a large majority of this game. But after the game, answering the questions, he said at a certain point, it no longer became about the record. We had a game to win, a very important game to win. I was going to help do what I could to help the team win. One of those things he did was hit a huge three-pointer to give the Warriors the lead just about for good. A Jaren Jackson bucket gave the Grizzlies the lead for about 10 seconds, and from there it was Butler free throws. It was a huge Moody three. It was AirPods skying in for the tip-in, and it was big defensive stops down the stretch that allowed the Warriors to win this game. Let's not bury the lead, man. Last time Curry was in that building, he didn't hit a single field goal. That was the game from hell, and he turns around and goes for 52. First chance I've had for you to react. Let's hear it. I mean, what else can we say about Steph Curry other than this guy is generational? He is incredible, and when you have him on your team, you believe that you have a chance to win an NBA championship. You truly do.
It really is hard to put that belief to bed. He's spectacular. That I don't know. You could argue it was his best game of the year. Not only the 52 points, he was a couple assists away from a triple-double. You could tell there was a brief moment where he was chasing the Klay three-pointer record, right? He got to 11, and then he took a few bad ones, and then you could see he was kind of like, all right, this game's too close. There's too much work to do here for me to worry about that. And really was a huge part, obviously, of closing the game. But as you said, one of the most encouraging things about this game, from a very game Memphis squad that, who knows what happens if Jaren Jackson doesn't foul out with 4 minutes left. Worth noting, though, that Jaren Jackson fouling out with 4 minutes left is not just a coincidence. It's owed to the new Warriors who draw fouls, to Jimmy Butler, who got him on a great pump fake to draw that sixth foul with 4 minutes. It's everything was working. Steph was great, as good as as good as anyone can be, really. Draymond had a triple-double, very good game from him. Excellent defense, as always. Jimmy Butler was pretty much the best version of the Jimmy we've seen. He still has not done any offensive takeovers, really. But, God, getting free throws when you need them. He has hit big buckets, don't get me wrong, and he certainly did that last night. Everything's feeling good, and I think even though it wasn't the best game for all the reserves, the fact that Podziemski, Moody, even Buddy Hield made some big shots, some big plays in that fourth quarter to make sure this thing went in the win column. It was a great night, frankly, in Memphis for the Warriors.
So the Warriors were up 113-112 with about 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the game. In fact, we can go right before that when Ja Morant hits a little floater with 6 minutes to go. The Grizzlies had the lead in the game. It's 112. It's 112-111. And you're thinking, are the Warriors really going to spoil a potential 50-point outing from Steph Curry? Buddy Hield hits a three for the Warriors to go up 116-112 with 5 minutes to go. And at that point, you feel like, all right, there's a little bit of separation. Warriors have the momentum. They're on a quick 5-0 run. We got this. Not so fast. An 8-0 run from Memphis ends with Jaren Jackson hitting a little jump shot. It's 120-116. From there, the Warriors get a layup from Podziemski. They get that three-pointer from Curry in the corner off a Draymond Green assist. And the telepathy from Draymond to Curry, it was beautiful today. I mean, how many of Curry's buckets came on a Draymond Green assist? I'd love to see the number. It was many. He hits that three-pointer to get to 50. The Warriors have the lead. Jackson hits a layup. It's 122-121 Grizzlies with 2 minutes to go. From there, Butler free throws. From there, more Butler free throws. They're up 3. That's when Curry comes into play, misses a three-pointer with 70 seconds to go. Podziemski soars in, AirPods, tips it in. Warriors up 5. And then Moody with the icing on the cake. I thought Podziemski's tip-in to me felt like the icing on the cake, but 5 points in the NBA, that's nothing. Moody made sure he slammed the door. Guess who assisted? Draymond Green, of course. Moody in the corner, three-pointer. Cue up the Mike Breen, bang, and need some more energy there. But 130-122 at that point. Warriors hang on 134-125. They are all alone in the 5 seed, man. But where I want to take this, the free throw line. This is a Warriors team that didn't get many free throws and that did not hit them at a very good clip before Jimmy Butler came to this team. We just saw maybe the most impressive Warriors free throw shooting evening. I mean, I'm not going to say in history. I'm sure if we go back to the books, there's a 34-34 game in there somewhere. But 28 of 28, man, it doesn't get much better than that.
No, I don't know what the record is either, but remarkable to think. Again, anytime as a Warrior fan, as someone who covers the team, anytime you start to have a little doubt about what you're watching, just remember what it was like in mid-January, okay? They were the worst free throw shooting team in the league and also not getting to the line anyway, right? They were just looking sluggish and totally devoid of any juice on the floor. And now it's a whole different thing. And listen, the real test is in front of you because it's about to get really tough. And you are, look, if you exceed expectations for the rest of the week, the 3rd seed is not off the table. If you fall on your face over the next week, the 8th seed is not off the table. Like playing on the road in a play-in game is not off the table. The variance for outcome for this Warrior team right now is tremendous, and their toughest games are right in front of them.
Is it what, 19-2, 20-2 at this point with Curry and Butler on the floor? It's up there. Like it's
with them both on the floor. I think it might only be one loss with them both on the floor.
It is remarkable. Regardless, it makes you believe that this Warriors team has a good chance, not just a chance, a good chance to make a deep run in the Western Conference. There's one team that is light years above everyone else. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the best record in basketball. But the rest of the West, very congested. We're going to talk about it coming up on Locked On Dubs.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. There's no better way to win some money in the NBA than with Prize Picks or during MLB season. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. This week, I'm going to go with an Ellie De La Cruz more than one home run. I'm going to go with Shohei Ohtani stealing more than one base. It's fast and simple, and I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections, so you can get even more value. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Western Conference. We've been calling it the Wild Wild West since before the season began, and we were right. I mean, it's shaped up to be nothing less than the insane Western Conference. As it stands right now, Oklahoma City has locked up everything and then some. They have the best record in the NBA at 63-12, although I will say they should be 0-3 against the Golden State Warriors. They really should this season, and they're 1-2 regardless, 2 of their 12 losses coming to Golden State. So the fact that you've beaten them a couple of times, that should give you some hope. The 2 spot right now is held by the Houston Rockets, to where if you were to match up with Houston, so somehow, let's say you fall to the 7 seed, you win your play-in games, and you get Houston in a series, you've had their number. I mean, until you lost to them a month, 2 months ago, whatever it was, you'd won 15 straight. You're, I believe, 3-1 against the Rockets this season. So they don't necessarily scare you, especially a young team in the playoffs that can't shoot. That 7 spot wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because you'd rather play Houston than Denver or LA. I promise you that as a Warriors fan. But you want to just keep winning. You don't want to fall into the 7 spot. You would hope somehow that maybe, you can get up to that 3 spot where Denver sits and take on Memphis or Minnesota or whoever it may be in the first round at the 6. But it's Denver at the 3. It's the Lakers at the 4. It's Golden State at the 5. Here's how we stand. Golden State right now is a half game above the Grizzlies for the 6 spot. They're also a half game above the Timberwolves for the 7 spot. They're also a full game above the Clippers, who you play the last game of the season, for the 8 spot. This thing is going to go down to the very last day of the season. Warriors do have an easy stretch coming up. However, that easy stretch is coming up after arguably their most difficult 2-game stretch of the entire season since the new year. Truly. It's the Lakers and it's Denver back to back. How excited are you, man? I mean, how excited are you? That's a simple question posed.
I'm very excited. It's a brutal stretch of games, though. It's first you had this Memphis game, which we saw was no picnic, even though they got a much needed and incredibly important win. Then it's not just a back-to-back, it's road home back-to-back. So it's play the Lakers, fly home, play the Nuggets the next night. I think especially with the win in Memphis, and then, by the way, you got Houston on Sunday too, right? So with the win in Memphis, if you go 2-1 in the next 3, you're feeling really good about things.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go 3-0 in the next 3, then we start to talk about dream scenarios, because listen, let's put Denver at 3 aside for a second. If you beat the Lakers tomorrow night, okay, you will be 1 game back of the Los Angeles Lakers. Remaining on their schedule is 1 3-game road trip where they have 2 games, not a back-to-back, but 2 games against Oklahoma City, and then a back-to-back in Dallas on the back end of the second OKC game. So, relative to the Warriors' schedule, that's brutal. Obviously, the Lakers are good enough to win any of those games, but I'm just saying, 1 game back of the Lakers with, 7 games to play, 6 games to play, and they have a much tougher schedule than you, would feel really good. And, look, you're 2 games back at Denver in the loss column as well. So beating both of these teams, it would start to open up some dream scenarios in terms of seeding, which I think, if you could pick absolutely anything, the true dream scenario, barring somehow finding the 2 seed, which is not really possible, would be getting third and playing Memphis. Like Minnesota, sure. The Clippers, I got to say, I don't want any part of a healthy Kawhi Leonard in round 1. You know, I don't want
your number.
And if I can avoid it, I'd skip Jokic and LeBron and Luka as well. You know what I'm saying? So
am I the only
Minnesota,
one,
but
Kolsky?
Memphis is the team you'd like to face, and we just saw kind of why. You can foul out their best player, arguably, and even when Ja has a great night, it doesn't necessarily mean the team is totally flowing.
Yeah, and the Warriors were getting hammered in the game. They weren't calling a lot of the fouls. So
oh man, was that brutal?
They were getting hammered. So that may go different in a 7-game series. You may get some of those calls. Is it just me? And it may just be me. You can hop in on the comments. Thanks for everyone joining the show on YouTube. Let me know what you think. But personally, I'm more afraid of the 3-4 teams right now, the Lakers and the Nuggets, than I am the Thunder or the Rockets. And that may sound insane, especially considering the Thunder they can't lose. But there's something about them that matchup-wise, it does not scare me as much. They got their foul merchant and SGA. The Warriors have their foul merchant and Jimmy Butler. I think the Warriors could take them down. I really do.
Let's separate those two things.
Okay.
Because I think like there's an interesting conversation about the matchup with the Thunder. But the Thunder have been, hands down, the best team in the Western Conference and arguably the best team in the league all season long. And that, as well as you might match up to them relative to how other teams match up with them, it's not something you're interested in the first round of the playoffs. The Rockets, to me, are in that Grizzlies category, where they're young stars. There is so much variance. The inexperience shows on a regular basis. You can take advantage of them in some very clear ways, and the Warriors have all year in both those cases, with the obvious exception of that one horrendous game in Memphis, right? So those teams worry me less than just about anybody else in the playoffs, because whatever the records of Denver and the Lakers end up being when the season ends, Jokic, LeBron, Luka, like, we've just seen all these guys do it in the playoffs. Even Jamal Murray. We have seen them do it at a championship level. Even if Luka doesn't have the ring yet, who doubts that he will one day have championship ring, parentheses S. It's just, yeah, you'd rather face, because also one of the Warriors' principal advantages over anybody is veteran experience, right? Like, there's no scenario where the Warriors make a deep run without their experience and toughness being an asset that pushes them past other teams. And those advantages seem to hold more weight against the teams that haven't done it, which to a degree includes Oklahoma City. I just can't put them in the same category as Houston or Memphis, given what they've accomplished the last 2 seasons.
1,000%. Well spoken. One of the things we saw entering 21-22 after a tough stretch where the Warriors lost, 8 of 9 games in the late stages of March, was they picked it back up to end April. They got Curry back healthy at the right time, entering the Denver series. He was coming off the bench, I believe, to start that series. And Dubs were just clicking on all cylinders. And that's sometimes what it takes, is getting hot at the right time. And I don't know, man. It just feels like when Curry is on the floor, this team is, I'm not going to say unbeatable. I mean, they could absolutely lose to anyone. But in the Western Conference, I think they can absolutely beat anyone. And that is going to make for an extremely fun playoffs, especially since we found the Warriors' secret weapon, Kevon Looney, the sharpshooter. We're going to talk about that coming up next on Locked On Dubs.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that is where Monarch Money, comes in to take care of your money. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You could track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. you can stop managing your money and start building your wealth. I realized from this app how much I was spending on takeout, and I cut it out. Also realized how much I was delivering things to the house that I did not need, and I cut it out. That's what Monarch Money does. And you have a partner to help you manage your money. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's a good deal. You can find it on monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
The Memphis Grizzlies cannot stop Steph Curry. That
No,
is for sure. Kevon Looney, I don't think he had hit a three-pointer all year before the San Antonio Spurs game.
It had been years,
plural. We had heard this the entire offseason that Looney had really perfected his three-point shot and that he was going to stretch the floor. So much so to where during hypothetical season, Kolsky and I talked about what a weapon it could be if Looney could step out, keep you honest, and knock down a three. He didn't really shoot them. To start the year, you could tell that he had really worked on his 14-footer. He was sinking the short corner J. Three-pointers were just not a part of his bag. All of a sudden, we've seen back-to-back games knocking down the three. Now, I don't think it's as simple as saying this is a secret weapon that the Warriors said, Kevon, back in November, Kevon, let's save it for late in the season and catch teams by surprise. But just seeing him knock down some threes and really crucial games back-to-back has to be somewhat encouraging, no? You're going to take a different stance. You're going to say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so that's where we segue to Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year odds. This is a little more important because right now he's the favorite at minus 185, and I did that on purpose. I knew you were going to say no there. This is not the secret weapon. Draymond Green is the secret weapon defending-wise. Evan Mobley has slid to plus 135 odds per the FanDuel Sportsbook. Draymond Green, the favorite at minus 185 and was defensive player in the month of March. What did you think about his defensive prowess in Memphis?
He's spectacular. Look, the nature of the game when you are a 6'6" guy defending bigs is sometimes you get scored on. And Jaren Jackson was having a night on the offensive end. He committed enough stupid fouls to knock himself out of the game on the defensive end. But Draymond, listen, Steph ended up with, I think, 5 steals last night. And I'm not saying Draymond is responsible for those steals. But if Draymond's not there, Steph can't do nearly as much in passing lanes. Jimmy Butler can't do nearly as much defensively. Like, he just makes it all work. He's a coach on the floor. He is 2 or 3 players at once defensively at times on the floor. And look, I think during some of the down years of the Warriors, you could nitpick whether or not he's always brought this sort of playoff intensity and effort level to every night of a regular season. Those are fair criticisms. I think they can be made of most guys, but they're fair. He has been, if not the best, one of the 3 to 5 best defensive players in the year for a decade. In the game, I should say. In every year that he's played for a decade. And I think he absolutely deserves Defensive Player of the Year. There's a reason he's Defensive Player of the Month. And if we're being totally honest, and I don't think Draymond is, would be too upset by this. The fact that the team has Jimmy Butler and their very, very good record since that trade is sort of the thing that puts him in the conversation more so than his specific performance in March, because it matters now. Now that they have Jimmy Butler, now that they have a team that can be seen as legitimate competitors with some of the best teams, that extra level of defense that Draymond can bring beyond almost anyone else in the entire league matters more every night. And I think, sure, he's playing with playoff intensity, and that's part of it. But part of it, too, is the spotlight on the entire team because of the change in both the expectations and results since they made this Jimmy Butler deal.
The Dubs take their first biggest game of the season. Pretty much every game down the stretch is and entering the playoffs. We're going to hear biggest game of the season over and over again. But Memphis was the biggest game of the season to overcome that 5 that they've been staring for quite some time. I never thought they were going to get up to the 5. I thought 6 was kind of the ceiling.
And they get the tiebreak with Memphis,
Yep.
because by the way, everyone's still right there. Like I talked earlier about how close they are to the 3 seed, 2.5 games, 2 in the loss column. They're closer to 8.
Yeah.
So it's, and this is another thing. We knew this was coming. It's been like this in the Western Conference all season. It would be worse if Dallas hadn't gotten injured, even after the trade. They would have been in this mix too if Kyrie and Anthony Davis had been healthy this whole time. So, man, and you look at some of the teams that look like they could be coming next year, like, whew, it's tough out there, man.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because they have 5 total losses since February 8th. So you go nearly 2 months and lose 5 games, and you've barely formed any separation. Now, you were down 2 or 3 games, I believe, when you acquired Jimmy Butler, so you caught up right away. But the fact that you've lost, 3 games in the last month and you have not formed any separation just goes to show you what the rest of the league's done in the Western Conference, and that is win over and over. Biggest stretch of the season, though, begins on Thursday. It's the Lakers. It's Denver on Friday. It's the Houston Rockets on Sunday. And then the Phoenix Suns have come back to life a little after playing some good basketball. Injuries have hit them. They are down to they're down to play the Warriors on Tuesday, April 8th, before the Warriors finish with the Spurs, the Blazers, and the Clippers. So it's getting real, everyone. We've hit the 7-game stretch. This is the first 7-game playoff series of the season for the Golden State Warriors. I want to get into Denver for 20 seconds. Jokic goes for 60. He goes for a 60-point triple-double. That's our MVP in the NBA. I know that Shea is the favorite last I checked. I know that he's probably going to win MVP. It's Jokic, man. He's the best player in the world. It's that simple. It's that simple. Don't give me any pushback here, Kolsky. It's that simple. He's the best player in the world.
Well, it's not that simple because that's not what the award is. And that's never how the award has been voted on. And I don't think we need to get too deep into this. But if the question is who's the best player in the world at this moment, we pretty much everybody can agree that's Nikola Jokic. If the question is who is the 2024-25 most valuable player in the National Basketball Association, you can certainly make an argument for Jokic, and I think I would vote for him if I had a vote, which I certainly don't, by the way. And at the same time, I expect Shea will win, and I don't really have a problem with it because he has been that good this year. He is nearly Jokic's equal in many of the sort of advanced statistics and aggregate things that measured how good is this guy. It's always been done this way. And I don't think anyone is going to look back at Nikola Jokic's career when he has, 3 MVPs instead of 5 and be like, well, he wasn't that good after all. So I'm just not that worried about it.
Fair enough. This is Locked On Warriors. Kolsky, I will see you after a massive game Thursday. LA Lakers. Can't let them sweep the season series. It's as simple as that. You got to get one. Lakers Warriors. We'll talk to you then. This is Locked On Dubs. Subscribe.
LA beat